I would like to offer some thoughts on the immediate challenges and the broader scaffolding required for a better future. Israelis deserve security. Palestinians deserve security. Zero-sum outcomes can never deliver that. An inescapable anchor of this reality is the acknowledgement of the power asymmetry between an occupying, colonizing state and an occupied, colonized people. The thousands upon thousands of stories of individual hardship, Israelis both fallen and still held captive, the tens of thousands of Palestinians killed, many more maimed, starved, lives devastated, schools, hospitals, shelters, entire neighborhoods destroyed, and yet the remarkable resilience also of Palestinians. Dr. Hussam Abu Safir, the director of Kamal Radwan Hospital, still mistreated and held in Israeli detention. One really must not forget the names of the Bibas children, Ariel and Kafir, the circumstances of their death, nor the name of Leila Al-Khatib, a 2-year-old Palestinian killed in her home in the occupied West Bank just days ago while eating dinner with her family, or 5-year-old Hind Rajab, bombed and denied medical attention, dead with her family. Those lost in the turned-off incubators of Al-Shifa Hospital. A minute of silence for each of the Bibas children would be appropriate, as would a minute of silence for each of the more than 18,000 Palestinian children murdered in Israel's devastation of Gaza. That silence would extend to over 300 hours. And our task is to prevent that conflict and that human suffering. And it results from political conflict, preventable tragedies, and the many more tragedies that await if steps are not taken. When you peel back the layers, we are all people and we are all born equal. We can and sometimes should use strong and emotive language, but what we have at the end of the day is rules, is laws, is charters, is conventions, is rights that are codified. Not what is seen in the eye of the beholder, not what is subjective, something that is supposed to, not always, is be applied and not ignored for some. This body is architect, author, arbiter of those rules and statutes and conventions. And whether it's a non-state actor, a partisan resistance, or a state, the question must always be, are you acting in accordance within those conventions and laws and charters? When Hamas is culpable, it is held accountable, sanctioned heavily. When an ambassador of a state stands at a UN podium with a little shredding machine and shreds the UN Charter, that's a gimmick. But when a state like Israel conducts itself in ways that render the Charter meaningless and which assault those conventions, including on genocide, rights, norms and laws that this body holds dear, then that is a challenge that cannot be allowed to pass. It is the kind of affront which decades ago led to apartheid South Africa being suspended from active participation at the UN. The prevention of humanitarian assistance, the targeting of aid workers and even of workers of this institution, all while attacking the bodies that uphold international law, the International Court of Justice, the International Criminal Court, and claiming the moral high ground while making specious accusations that somehow upholding the law is motivated by anti-Semitism. That worries me because it also cheapens what is a very real and dangerous phenomenon of anti-Semitism. As I have suggested before to this chamber, the absence of accountability, absolute impunity, is a guarantor of perpetual conflict. And I would put it to you that ultimately it does the people of Israel no favors either.